It's Steve's show, and I'm your host, Steve. Welcome back for NFL season week 2. Are y'all excited? Because week 1 was pretty exciting. I think week 2 is going to be some thrills. So, how did you do on your picks? Because I did great. 11-4. That's not bad. We want to do better this week. But 11-4 is not bad. This week is going to be tough. But we're going to have to push through and do what we can. Alright, so we're going to start right down the line like we always do. My Green Bay Packers going up against the Atlanta Falcons. This is going to be a great game to see who is who, who's real, what's going on. You know, we got Jordan Love playing maybe with Christian Watson this week. Maybe. He did practice on Friday. Aaron Jones did not practice all week. So you might not want to expect Aaron Jones to play if you have him on a fantasy team. And that is why my fantasy pick is going to be A.J. Dillon. I think he's going to lead the Packers to a victory, 32-24. I think he will get 2 touchdowns in this game. He's going to have to be a workhorse if Aaron Jones does not play. Not official yet, but he's predicted 0 points on my fantasy team, so it's not looking good. I think they will still be able to pull it off. You still might get some looks on Emmanuel Wilson. I believe he's an undrafted rookie who was playing for the Packers in the preseason. He was looking good. So he may get some touches if Aaron Jones does not play as well. Look for those running backs to assist Jordan Love. But Christian Watson, if he plays, he'll be able to go alongside Romeo Doubs, Luke Musgrave, Jaden Reed. I think that wide receiver core is young, and they're fast, and they're going to get things done. And Jordan Love's going to lead them to another victory. Moving on to game 2, we got the Vegas Raiders versus the Buffalo Bills. I'm all in on the Raiders. I do like them. I'm a big fan of Devontae Adams, obviously, because he was on the Packers. I'm not a huge believer in Josh Allen. He turns the ball over way too much. I like Jimmy Garoppolo. He's a winner. Josh Jacobs, I have him on my fantasy team. I think he's a really good running back. I'm going to pick the Raiders to win this game 20-17. I don't think it's going to be an all-out huge scoring game. But I do think Devontae Adams is going to get a touchdown or 2. Get about 100 yards. He's going to be my top fantasy pick this week for the Raiders. Moving on to game 3, we have the Baltimore Ravens versus the Cincinnati Bengals. What a divisional game. Joe Burrow versus Lamar Jackson. If Joe Burrow can wake up, it's week 2. Do you understand that? It's week 2. You missed week 1. So wake up. I think they will be able to wake up a little bit, but I don't think they'll be able to get it done against Lamar Jackson and Zay Flowers and that defense. You know, I think they got a little bit more rust to shake off. I do think they will shake off the rust and get back into winning games throughout the season. I think they will still be a playoff contender, but we'll see. You never know in the NFL. It's a crazy time. Game 4, we're going to move on really pretty quick here. We got Seattle Seahawks versus the Detroit Lions. I like the Lions here. Dan Campbell's a good coach. You got Jared Goff. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown. You know, you got Jahmyr Gibbs, who's going to be getting more touches, they say, this week. Seattle didn't look good last week. Geno Smith couldn't do much. We'll see if DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett can help open it up a little bit for them. You know? But I am going to pick the Lions to win this game 30-17. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to have a big game. 120 yards at least. A touchdown or 2. We'll see. I think Jared Goff is going to be able to sling that ball all around that Seattle defense, especially at home in Detroit. Moving on to game 5, we have the Chargers versus the Tennessee Titans. Now, I really like the Chargers in this game. Even though Austin Eckler is most likely not going to play, he is doubtful. I think Joshua Kelly is going to be able to get it done. You got Mike Williams. You got Keenan Allen out there on the sides. Justin Herbert will find these guys. They scored a lot of points against the Dolphins last week. I think they will do the same against the Tennessee Titans, and I don't see the Tennessee Titans being able to keep up with them. I picked this game 36-23. Chargers. Mike Williams is going to be my fantasy pick. I hope he gets 2 touchdowns, but I see him at least getting 100 receiving yards. A big game for a breakout game that Mike Williams needs this season. Right off the rip. Let's go. Game 6, we have the Bears versus the Bucks. Bears, Bucks, Bucks, Bears. Who do you pick? The Bucks got a win against the Minnesota Vikings, but the Minnesota Vikings have not looked good. They have had so many turnovers. You got the Chicago Bears, who did not look good against the Packers. Are the Packers real? Was their defense real? Is Chicago just bad? We don't know. All these questions are up in the air. I'm going to go and pick the Bucks to win this game, squeaking it out probably by a game-winning field goal. That's how a lot of these games end. It's going to be 24-23. My fantasy pick is going to be Mike Evans. I think he's going to get another touchdown, 100 receiving yards. Usually my fantasy picks are around there. I just don't think the Bears are going to be able to stop him, especially with Chris Godwin on the other side or in the slot. The Buccaneers are going to come away with a win against the Bears. Game 7, we got the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Oh, wow, what a game. This is a playoff game, playoff caliber game. It's going to be a phenomenal one to tune into. With the 1 o'clock games, there's a lot of 1 o'clock games you want to watch. But Patrick Mahomes has to try to get a win here with Travis Kelce back healthy. He's been practicing. Hopefully Tony fixed his hands or something. I know he came out and apologized, stood up as a man and said, my job, I got to take care of business. And hopefully they give him another chance to do that and recover this year. However, I like this Jacksonville Jaguar team. I really do. I think Trevor Lawrence is an up-and-coming quarterback. Still, he is playoff caliber. They got Travis Etienne out of the backfield. You got Calvin Ridley, number 1. You got Christian Kirk, number 2. You got Zay Jones, number 3. Or Reverso on the other 2. Who knows? I still think the Jaguars are going to win this game 31-27. Trevor Lawrence is going to have a big game, a couple touchdown passes. He may even run one in. You may even see him using his legs a little bit more in this game if Kansas City opens it up. So keep your eye out for that. Game 8. We got the Colts versus the Texans. 2 teams wanted to get their first win. Anthony Richardson, I think, still looked good his first game. I had him. I picked him. I told y'all to pick him, and he did good. He delivered. He delivered as his rookie quarterback should, running his big style of running like Cam Newton, I picture. I think he's going to do that again against Houston. I really do, but I think he's going to find Michael Pittman for a couple touchdowns. So I do think they will win 21-13 against Houston. I think Houston has a lot of things to work out with CJ Stroud. We don't know. But the Texans have a lot of work to do and a lot of development in their rookies. And it may come to fruition later in the season, but I think the Colts are going to get their first win this Sunday against the Texans. Moving on to Game 9, we have the 49ers versus the Rams. Great game. You're going to want to tune in. It's the first game on the list for a 4:05 game. I'm going to pick the 49ers because that's my second favorite team probably in the NFC. If I had to say anything, I like Christian McCaffrey. He's one of my favorite players in the NFL. I think he's very elusive, very athletic, and I'm just going to say the 49ers are going to win this game 24-16. Matt Stafford had a great game last game. He put up 300 and something yards on 30 or 40 throws, but he had no touchdown passes, no interceptions, which is good. And the defense played great, and they were able to run the ball. But the 49ers have a way different defense, and that defense is really fast, really good, really tough, really physical. On the other side of the ball, you got Brock Purdy, who's Mr. Irrelevant, but he is relevant, and he's got chips stacked on his shoulders super high, and he's ready to prove it to everybody, especially with the team around him, that coaching staff around him. I mean, You got Christian McCaffrey. You got Deebo Samuel. You got Brandon Ayuk. You got George Kittle. These names are crazy. What a team they have. They're going to win this game. They're going to be Super Bowl favorites at the end of the season. Mark my words on that. Game 10, let's move on to them Giants. The Giants, who have not scored a point yet this season. They have not looked good at all. But neither have the Arizona Cardinals, and that is who they are facing this week on Sunday. If you're a Giants fan, it's good news. I would say it's good news if you're a Giants fan, because you're gonna come out in Arizona, and it shouldn't be raining. It shouldn't be muddy. The ball shouldn't be slippery. So get back to playing football. Know what you could do. Give that ball to Saquon. Let him do his thing. I think they're going to come away with a victory against the Cardinals, 24-16 this week. And I think Saquon's going to have a big game. He's going to have to prove a lot. The Giants have to say, hey, we were in the playoffs last year. You know, it's kind of like the Vikings. We were in the playoffs last year, but we haven't really seen anything this year to prove to us that you really are a playoff caliber team. So you can score points, but turnovers are real. Turnovers are bad. Sacks are bad. You gotta clean these things up. Be an NFL team in the 2023 era. Moving on to game 11. We got the Jets versus the Cowboys. We were supposed to have Aaron Rodgers versus Dak Prescott. We got Zach Wilson versus Dak Prescott. It still could be a good game. Both defenses are supposed to be really, really good this season, and we think we saw that in week 1. However, I do think Dallas has better weapons on the offensive side of the ball, I would say. I don't know. I mean, people say, you know, you got Dalvin Cook, you got Breece Hall, you still got Garrett Wilson, Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb. But you got Zach Wilson throwing them the ball now, instead of Aaron Rodgers. And how much has Aaron Rodgers taught Zach Wilson in this offseason? We don't know. We don't know. Maybe a lot. Maybe he has a lot to prove this season. Maybe he's getting those chips on his shoulder. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure Aaron Rodgers taught him about those chips. I do. But I do think the Dallas Cowboys defense is going to be too good in this game. Against Zach Wilson, probably get a few interceptions, a couple sacks. They're going to be my fantasy pick as well. They're going to win 30-14. Dak is going to have another mediocre game, do what he has to do, just manage a game. That's what most quarterbacks just have to do to win games in the NFL. Just manage the game. Don't make mistakes. Don't turn the ball over. You're going to win games in the NFL. You need a good defense. You need a good run game. A quarterback that doesn't throw interceptions, that doesn't get sacked and fumble the ball. That's how it is in the NFL these days. Game 12, we have the Washington Commanders versus the Denver Broncos. I do think the Denver Broncos are going to get their first win this week. I really do. The Commanders played really well last week. They didn't make a lot of mistakes. Like I said, Sam Howell kind of just managed the game. But guess what? Jerry Jeudy is going to play this week. Yes, he is in the lineup. So if he was on your bench, put him in the lineup. He is going to score. I think Russell Wilson is going to find him for a touchdown. But I think Russell Wilson is going to maybe even rush for a touchdown as well. Sneaky Petey. You never know what he's going to do with his feety. So bring him in. He's going to score. They're going to win 23-20 and get a surprise win against the Commanders this week. It's going to be a great game, and you should tune in because you want to keep an eye on Chase Young. He's going to be back for the Commanders on the defense, and he might be chasing Russell Wilson all over the field. Who knows? We don't know. This is just a guess. This is my pick. This is why I'm 11-4, and we'll see what we get to all season. We'll see how I am. 11-4 is a good start. All right, moving on to game 13. A great game here. We got the Miami Dolphins versus the New England Patriots, the team that likes to shut down that key asset of your team, which would be Tyreek Hill, most people would think. So, Tyreek Hill has come out and said he doesn't care if he's double covered or triple covered. He's going to get open. He's going to run his route. He's faster than you. He's going to get to it. And if Tua is accurate and can put that ball when he's open, That team is very, very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. You know, the Patriots, Mac Jones played a pretty good game last week. They still couldn't pull off the win. But Kendrick Bourne is starting to become an elite receiver still. You know, he's still out there. Don't forget about that name. It's a very interesting game. It is in New England. It is a Sunday night game. You got the lights on. It's a big game. You got two Alabama quarterbacks going at it. I'm going to pick the Dolphins to win this game 28-24. I think it's going to be close. But there is no containing Tyreek Hill. Like he said, he's going to get open. He is faster than you. We know it. We saw the 40-yard dash. We've seen him run. We've seen the times. It is faster than you. So Tyreek Hill will be my fantasy pick this week. The Patriots can try to contain him the best they can, but even if you do, you're opening it for Jalen Waddle, and that's never a good thing either. So cut your losses. You're playing the Dolphins, who are one of the best teams in the NFL when healthy. They have their whole team good to go. All right, game 14. This is the first game of the Monday nights. We have two games on Monday night this week, a 7:15 and an 8:15 game. The first one is the New Orleans Saints versus the Carolina Panthers. You know, this game is going to be interesting. I want to see Bryce Young again. Hopefully make adjustments in his game. Watch some film from a regular season game. A long film, not just preseason. You get chunks here, you know, chunks there. You got a full game film of gameplay now. What can you tweak? What can you adjust? What can you do different? The Saints defense is going to make it difficult. Lattimore is going to make it difficult for him. You know, I got to pick the Saints to win this game 31-24. I think Bryce Young is going to look much better in this game than he did his first game. But I think Michael Thomas is going to as well. He started off good last game at the beginning, and his production kind of fell off at the end of the game. Or throughout the game, I should say. I want that production to stick throughout the game. Derek Carr can find him. He's already opened up his possibilities for Rashid Shaheed. I believe that's his name. You also got Chris Olave. You got Juwan Johnson as tight end. You got Taysom Hill still as a little pocket knife. You know, utilized weapon. You never know when you're going to use them. Yeah, I'm going to pick the Saints to win this game. They're going to figure out a way to beat Bryce Young 31-24. Rookie quarterbacks are going to have a tough year this year. Yeah, that's my pick. Moving on to the last game of this week, I should say, I guess. It's going to be the Cleveland Browns versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Another divisional game. Should be good. Two good defenses. I do think the Cleveland Browns have the better offense. Nick Chubb is probably going to be my fantasy pick this week. The Browns are going to win 27-20. I don't think the Steelers defense is going to be able to contain Nick Chubb all game long. You also have to watch out for Deshaun Watson using his legs, which is always a threat. And he always has Amari Cooper to throw the ball to, which is a solid wide receiver. Maybe not a solid wide receiver 1 in a fantasy team, but a wide receiver 2 nonetheless. Like we were just talking about last game, I do want to talk about Tua Tagovailoa. Probably didn't say his name right. Oh well, we all know who we're talking about. It's number 1 for the Miami Dolphins. If this kid stays healthy, he is such a threat. I think people find him scary because he throws lefty. There's no lefty quarterbacks in the NFL. It looks different, but he is a phenomenal quarterback. He's been in the elite games, and he's got 2 of the best receivers in the league, 2 of the fastest receivers in the league, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. You know, you always got to pick him if you're doing a FanDuel or a DraftKings. You want to keep him on your team. He might be starting to get more expensive as the season goes on, so pick him when he might be cheaper. And if we're talking about cheap quarterbacks, I got to throw my boy Jordan Love in there. Buy cheap this week in FanDuel and DraftKings. Spend your money on Kelsey and Mike Williams and the higher wide receivers. You got Stephon Diggs and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Spend your money on these guys. Take Derrick Henry maybe. Do what you got to do. to get those fantasy points. I think the rookie quarterbacks, Jordan Love, Anthony Richardson. I mean, Jordan Love's not a rookie. We get it, but we don't know what we're going to know from him. We don't know what they're going to prove this season. He's looked good, but it's a long season. But I do think the rookie quarterbacks will put up some kind of fantasy numbers like they do. And it's a good pick this week. So pick Jordan Love, start him as a quarterback, save your money, spend it on wide receivers and running backs. And that's a wrap. Week 2 picks are in. Change these numbers next week. See what we can do better. And I will see y'all in the recap session next time. Y'all have a great day. Make sure y'all hit the subscribe button to Steve's Show. Peace out.